In this segment, Making April talks about how they recorded a $20,000 single with Universal Records. It's very, very different than their experience recording an entire album for $6,000. Here's where they go through the differences between doing it all yourself and doing it with the pros. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between self-recording your record now versus your first experience, which was recording while you were still in college, and versus Universal, and what that was like?
It was, okay. Well, the first experience, like the first time we ever recorded, was just pretty much Steve and I, zero knowledge about anything based on recording or equipment or what stuff is supposed to sound like, and us just going in, recording our song. It was like acoustic and piano, and just the engineer pretty much, the first thing we did was we paid for like 6 hours to do an acoustic demo, and the engineer just like mixed it in like 20 minutes at the end and gave it to us. And
we actually picked a random studio off the internet.
It was next to Albany. That's where we were at school.
Yeah, it just had a grand piano.
Okay.
Right, and yeah, we know now that you can make things sound a lot more like a grand piano than that ever did.
Interesting.
It was kind of a mess. Yeah, our first demo there was like, we thought it sounded great in the studio at the time, but when we got it outside into the real world, it was just like, whoa. It just...
So did you use any of those tracks, or that was sort of just
it was on a thing called My First Demo. That was what we initially used, to branch out on Facebook and MySpace.
It was actually mainly, we put it on, I met a girl at school who used to date one of the creators of Pure Volume. And so through her, we were able to get like one of the front page features back when we had maybe like 120 plays on a Pure Volume. And we had nothing going. We put these demos up there, and they took off. All of a sudden, we went from like getting like 50 plays a day to 7,000 a day for a week straight.
That was fun. And then, number two was when we did the EP. We upped the studio to someplace in New Windsor. It was with John Niclaria, Nada Studios. He had done a couple. He did some huge bands first work, like Brand New and My Chemical Romance, and he did some band that was in our town, and it sounded really good. So we went to him. We had all the control. He didn't really, have much input. It was 10 days in and out. And
did you want input, or you were pretty clear about what your musical goals were?
We still were not knowledgeable of how to like produce a song or what things were supposed to sound like. I think we got really lucky with the product that came out, because it could have been a disaster, but somehow.
Looking back on it now, it's still not produced the way. We got lucky, but it's still not the greatest thing ever.
Okay.
It was good enough though.
It was definitely good enough.
Good is good enough. I always say that. Like, good is always good enough, especially in the beginning stages.
It was good, yeah. The first mixes we were actually unhappy with, like the vocals were low and it sounded a little muddy, but like weeks later, or upon weeks of remixing with this other guy, we eventually got it to...
Another guy that I found, he was like the third result on Google. This tiny place in Woodstock in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
There's a studio in his house, and the guy was just very easy to work with. Just sat there, really chilled out, and just listened to what we had to say, and just reworked it a million times because we kept having problems with it.
But still, it was all on us. Everything was on us. Like all decisions, everything that had to be done. We didn't know anything, but we just kept saying, do this, do that. We'll do this. Going to Bend It was just like complete polar opposite of any control whatsoever. We basically had the song, so it was already written, so we didn't have to deal with like co-writing or anything.
This is the Universal experience you're talking about, okay?
Yeah.
As you know, we already recorded the song These Are the Nights, and we're re-recording it for radio. So we have to rearrange it a little bit. We're gonna add a third chorus, we're gonna do like a bridge, we're gonna have like the radio format. And we brought in the drummer from Breaking Benjamin.
Two guys, I guess, from New York Philharmonic, or used to be in it, so they were awesome on cello and violin.
Right, string players, and it was just like...
It was war.
Because it went from us always having control over what we sounded like, to all of a sudden not someone that didn't want to give us any control at all.
Just calling
didn't
shots.
Care what we said. Yeah, it was calling shots. He had his vision for the song, and it wasn't any what like ours whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know. It was the experience was it was you know, there's a lot of tension. And it was like
A lot of yelling.
Really? So
And
when
to give you
you
an example,
yeah.
to do our 8 songs on the EP, that was, I guess, after mixing and mastering, came to about $6,000 or so. For one song with David Bennett, it's $20,000, which is incredible. We just couldn't believe it. But the studio, you get there, it's 7,000 square feet, massive, like remote control cars and like all these games to play and pinball, which is great. Addicted to that.
Nice.
And so you get there and like you just see the difference instantly. You're like, wow, like this is legit. This is way better call. Yeah, you can keep going.
yeah. We brought our friend Adam in to help us with the song. He's done a few co-writes with me on this album. But yeah, basically it was just constant war, like too many cooks in the kitchen, as they say, trying to like just have their input. And I don't know. We probably, going back on it, we should have done. We should have gone about it a different way, but it was rough.
I think we were all happy still with the song came out though.
I was
Yeah,
about
yeah.
to say, like, so now
Yeah,
when you
I
listen
like
to the
product.
song, are you
Yes, we are happy.
I mean, there were times when we would take a file home and be like, "This is awful."
Yeah, after the
This
first
didn't
week, it sounded. We were only supposed to have 1 week there.
We're only supposed to have 1 week, and we get home with the song.
It was terrible.
And I'm so thankful that we went in there, and David actually was like, "Listen, we all screwed this up. We're gonna keep you in here for another week."
Yeah, he actually gave us another week for free, which
Nice.
was great.
I redid a vocal track, like just a bunch of stuff got fixed.
So you're proud of the $20,000 song.
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
We are. Yeah.
Good.
It's
Good.
song.
As it should be.
Right now we're doing the new album in Coney Island, and with Adam Richmond. He was an artist himself a few years back. And
He's
now
actually our touring guitarist on that Secondhand Saturday tour. Just good friend that Dan actually set us up with.
I've known Adam for years myself, so
Really?
very cool.
to co-write some songs. So that experience is just completely different. We just hang out in the studio, we write together, we can bounce ideas back.
He's
off
also a
each
good
other.
friend too, so it's like,
Really low pressure.
yeah, low pressure. He's like, here's the price for one song. However long it takes to get done, we get it done. Let's just make sure it comes out the best possible. And since he co-writes on the track, he also had a vision for what he wanted them to sound like,
Sure.
being the original writer. And that helped out a lot, because he was like, I don't want to finish a song until like, it's exactly what I want. So
But
that's
he knows a lot about making things sound good. The way we thought we never would
The
be
album
able to.
sounds awesome.
yeah,
We're now getting some mixes back because we're done with most of the songs. I really just have to go in and sing one or two more, and it'll all be tied up. But right now, getting the mixes back, they sound unbelievable.
So it'd be 12 songs. We pushed back the release date because now we're going to have it in a few Best Buys and maybe some other stores. And it's looking right now as if it's going to be early March. And it's our first full-length album. Even though our EP is maybe like 11 songs now, we just kept adding songs to it. But it's our first full-length album we're excited for. It'll be an independent release. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about
Unless
it.
some huge label just comes in and says, "I want to take it."
Of course, which our lawyer will obviously try to make that happen. But if not, we're full speed ahead, self-release, and it's now just a waiting game.
So you don't need to spend $20,000 to make music that you can be really happy with, but it didn't hurt in making April's case. This is Ariel, and you're watching Sound Advice.